Okay, so I'm just going to put together a little bit of a cauliflower fried rice. And I have some cauliflower here, but I'm going to do my onions first. And I have half an onion because I don't want too much onion in the cauliflower. And I just finished putting together another vegetable. And it's always a good idea when you're cooking to try and do 2 or 3 meals at once, because then it's done, right? And then you don't have to worry about it the next day. So that's one of the things that's really a handy thing to do is while you're here, because I don't usually like to spend more than 15 minutes in the kitchen. So if I'm making something that takes more than 15 minutes, I will usually make 3 or 4 things, and then that way you don't have to do it later. So just going to set these here so that I can scrape this over. And I'm going to add the mushrooms. So what I've done is I soak my mushrooms in, I'll just show you, in the little mushroom container. And so if you soak them right before you cook them, then when you go to rinse them and give them a little bit of a rub, then the bits of dirt fall off easier. And so I've also done that with some shiitakes. So I have some crimini mushrooms here, just a little piece there. And these are just criminis, which are really just mostly for flavor. And, you know, they're just really LBMs, little brown mushrooms. So they don't really do much health-wise, but they add nice flavor. So I'm just going to add, you know, chop this up because I really don't care what the, you know, what form or shape they are in, because they're going to shrink down to nothing anyway. These shiitakes are really good, really healthy mushrooms. These are really great for your immune system. You'll find them in most Asian markets. Often they'll be dried, and so it's really nice that these are fresh. And they have a bit of a chewier texture, so if you're adding them to stir fries or soups or whatever, they'll add a nice little chewy texture to whatever it is that you're making. So I have my pot here, which you can use a frying pan or whatever, filled with a little bit of water on fairly high heat so that it cooks fast. And then you would just add all of this in there. So you want it to saute. Okay. I want to do that first for a few minutes, and I'm going to just make sure it touches the sides, because the less water that you have in there and the higher the heat is, the faster it's going to cook. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is grab my, just a tiny little piece of pepper for the, just a little piece of red pepper, just for color. You can add more if you want, and you can add yellow peppers, orange peppers. You can add green if you want. I'm just not really a fan of green peppers. So I'm going to cut this really fine just to add color. There's the red pepper. Okay, I'm going to turn that on a little bit higher. See, if you don't have it high enough, it won't cook fast enough. For me, anyways. So I will, while that's happening, grab a little piece of garlic and take your little garlic skin, and there's about a million ways of peeling garlic quickly. One is to cut the end off, and then hopefully, depending on the garlic, the skin will just come right off. I'll often just smash them like this. See, and then that pulls the skin right off. Works really good, actually. Okay, so your little bit of garlic. And I usually use my garlic dicer, but since I squished it so hard, it kind of self-diced. So that's funny. All right, so you can see this is sauteing. And again, I do really want it to get fairly, a little bit more cooked before I add the cauliflower. So I'm going to add the salt, Celtic sea salt, Celtic sea salt's full of minerals, and it is not really that salty, so it sounds like I'm using a lot, but I'm really not. There's ground black pepper. You can use a little bit of cayenne if you want to, which I always love. A little cayenne helps with circulation. It's just good for everything. So now I'm just going to cut up my cauliflower here. And I don't think I really want the stem. I think I'll juice the stem. I'll take that out and just, you know, kind of like rice-sized pieces. And again, you don't want anything other than like possibly the onions and the mushrooms more cooked. You don't really want the cauliflower very cooked at all because you retain most of the nutrition with the rawer it is. You know what, I don't know if I'll save that nice big piece and I'll cut up these little ones. So you can see that it's not taking long for this to start boiling. Okay. Alrighty, so I don't want that too fine, but I'll give this a stir before I add that just to get it nicely mixed there. Let's see how nice that is. And what I want to do is I'm just going to leave this on high, and I want it to kind of appear rice-ish like. And so what I'm going to do is add a little bit of oil to it to give it a nice little sheen and to also, you know, just make it a little bit more ricey. Oil gives it just a nice little texture and, of course, flavor for sure. So you can use avocado oil, which is what I'm going to use. I don't really want to put an olive oil in this because I don't really want the olive oil flavor. Now, I could have cut that up a little bit more, but a couple pieces there that it'll just look nicer if it's cut up a little bit more. Oh, that's good. Okay. Or you can use coconut oil, which would be awesome as well. I'm going to use avocado oil, but you could use coconut, just a little drizzle on there. Gives it a nice little sheen. And that's pretty much it. You're just going to leave this on high while you make your salad, and then it's done. It's kind of a cauliflower rice dish. Actually, you know what? It's really not because I didn't chop up the cauliflower enough. But anyways, you get the drift. It's going to taste really good anyway. Okay, so there you go. It's a stir-fried sort of make-do cauliflower, mushrooms, peppers, onions, and garlic. Okay, it's on GeorginaSear.com.